Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host, Lorraine Rise, a career and executive coach dedicated to helping clients who are 40 plus to break free from feeling stuck and transform into the unstoppable force you're destined to become. Let's start the uprising. Hey there, how is everyone doing? This is episode 195, When the Nest Isn't Empty. Help your adult child land a job. Welcome back to Career Uprising. I hope you're all doing well. I am getting dangerously close to 200 episodes here, which is really exciting. So again, I'm Lorraine Rise, career executive coach, owner of Career Uprising. Go to careeruprising.com. Learn more about what we do for mid and late career professionals if you are not familiar. We do coaching, resume writing, assessments, salary negotiation, all the help you need to get unstuck and start living your best life and career. So I am really excited, you guys. Today's show is different, and I'm laughing a little bit because this topic is so different. I've never done anything like this, really. And I almost can't believe that I haven't. So we're talking today, not necessarily about you as that mid-late career professional, that 40, 50, 60 something. I'm talking about your kids. I'm talking about your adult kids here. They're in the job market now. They're graduating. And part of the reason I laugh is because I have received so many requests over the last maybe 2 years for help. I've had clients that I've worked with come back to me and say, will you help my son or daughter? They haven't launched. They're still living at home. They can't find a job. There's a lot of this going around. You guys are not alone. In fact, ironically, right now, as I record this episode, I have 2 coaching clients who are in that situation, who are earlier career, young adults. And that is not typically who I help, but I do make exceptions. So if you're listening and you want help and you're under 30 or your child is, I can still help you. Yes. But typically we focus on the later career stage. But I've been pivoting a little bit because there's so many people that this applies to. This is a hard time to launch a career. It really is. So if your son or daughter has graduated college, maybe moved back home or never left, hasn't launched yet, and they're sending out resumes, nothing's happening, you guys feel stuck, you're frustrated, you don't know what to do, this episode is for you. I made this with love for you. So listen to it with your adult child if you want, or just listen to it yourself and then pass on the wisdom. But I really hope that this guidance today will serve you. And if nothing else, know that you are not alone. There are people at every career stage that are struggling. This is a brutal, brutal job market and economy right now. So you're not alone. And there are ways to help your child move forward without doing it for them, without taking on this burden yourself or damaging your relationship with them. Because those are some of the risks that we run when we kind of meddle and get involved, right? Sometimes they want us to, sometimes they don't. It gets sticky. And I've seen this dynamic a lot as a career coach, of course, and also as a recruiter. People reach out and say, help, we don't know what to do. So here's what we're going to dive into today. Why so many young adults are struggling to launch their careers right now. Number 2, what parents can do and what you should not do to support them. And some practical tips and conversation starters to get things moving along. All right, let's go. Let's hit it. So let's start first with some perspective. If your 20-something is struggling, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're lazy or unmotivated. Now, maybe it does. Everybody's different. I have worked with some younger professionals that are great. They're really communicative and professional, and they're motivated, and they blow me away. And I have worked with some who are not. They cannot keep an appointment. They don't do the homework. They don't really even want to be going through this process anyway. And I don't work with those anymore. I've had a few and I don't do that. So in fact, I've instituted a new rule at Career Uprising that if somebody else is paying for it, if mom and dad is paying for it, I require talking to the actual client, to their child before enrolling. I want to know that they are engaged and motivated in this process, or it's not going to work. Okay. So that's just one of my rules. You guys, I have to talk to you if you are actually the client. And I think that's fair. I think that's important. But everybody is different. Some young people don't launch because it's them. Maybe they are not confident, maybe they're lazy, maybe they're unmotivated, but maybe they're not. Maybe it's just hard and they're trying and they haven't learned how to do this, or the economy sucks. There's a lot of things working against them right now. So here's what's going on. And here's what's changed in recent years. Entry level jobs aren't really always entry level anymore. I hate it, but I see a lot of job descriptions that say they're entry level, but they want like 5 years of experience or even a master's degree. I mean, you just can't expect that. So I think job descriptions make it hard, and company expectations make it hard to really know right now what is actually entry level. Two, of course, the elephant in the room is AI and automation. That's eliminated a lot of basic, admin support roles, entry level roles. Maybe that's part of why we're not seeing as many entry level roles in there. Some of them, I believe, have already started to disappear. And that's bad news for people who are early career. And then remote work has come in and created this big competition, this big tug of war between the employee and the employer. So it's good in a way, because then it opens up opportunities for you geographically, but it's also bad in a way, because then a new grad in Virginia might be up against applicants in California or Texas for the same entry level role. So it kind of opens up the barn door for everybody to apply, which is good and bad for the job seeker. It definitely means there's more competition. There's more options for you, but there's also more competition. So how much of it a benefit is, I don't know. And then I think the last thing that's harder for young adults is career clarity. They don't really have that yet. As a young adult, you're flooded with choices and not always don't know a lot of direction or know what your values are yet. They get told to follow their passion, but they don't know what that is yet. Plenty of adults don't even know what that is yet, and how do you translate that into a marketable skill? You don't have that in your toolbox yet when you're 22. You're just figuring things out. And right now you're figuring it out in a really challenging economy. So I feel for you guys. I do. So as a result, I think we've got a lot of capable and educated young adults who are sitting at home feeling lost and overwhelmed and maybe even ashamed. And that can be a terrible cycle, because when you feel all those things, then you're less likely to really put forth the effort. You just kind of retreat and say, it's not worth it, right? I might as well just stay home and play video games or work at McDonald's or something like that. So it's harder to feel the motivation to put yourself out there. I get it. And this is where parents typically step in, and oftentimes with good intentions, but sometimes the wrong tactics. So we have to tread carefully here to make sure that we don't damage the relationship between mom and daughter or mom and dad and son or whoever. There's a fine line between helping and enabling. So I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see is parents doing too much. You want to help. So maybe you start by rewriting their resume for them. I have seen resumes where the parent wrote it for them. You're not doing them a favor. They have to learn how to do that. It's going to sound too good, too polished, and they're not going to be able to back it up when they get into an interview. Don't write their resume for them. Now, we write resumes too, but we're going to do a consultation with you. We're going to get on an editing call with you. We're going to teach you the process, okay? And there's going to be input and collaboration from you. And I do think it's also a little different when it's your mom or dad doing it and then somebody who is more impartial, like a coach or a resume writer. So we're very careful with that. And our process is highly collaborative. So we're going to do the writing, but it's going to sound like you. And we're going to make sure of it. You should also not, mom or dad, be applying for jobs for your children. Please don't do that. Or even maybe emailing contacts. If you want to make an introduction to somebody that you know, okay, maybe I can see that. You shouldn't be emailing any of their contacts, and you shouldn't be the only person who's reaching out to contacts. They need to be doing that too. If you're going to do something, they need to match it on their end with the same effort. If you're the one doing all the work, they are not going to learn how to do this. If you take the lead, they're going to lose momentum. All right. Landing a job isn't just about the job. It's about the process. It's about learning this skill. And the sooner they can learn it, the better off they will be. Your child needs to feel discomfort and uncertainty in the world. There's also pride in the progress, but they need to have ownership of this. So if you're just trying to remove friction and eliminate conflict, you're not really doing them a service because they're not going to learn how to navigate that in the real world. So where is the line? What's the approach here? I want you to come at it from a support and coaching perspective. So you can be a sounding board. You can offer encouragement. You can offer resources as well. Hey, go to this website or try joining this group, anything like that. You can give guidance, but you are not doing. You're coaching. You're not doing. Support equals coaching. Enabling equals doing. All right. You should not be submitting applications. You should not be writing their resume for them. You can help them. You should not be making all the calls or rescuing them from consequences. Ask yourself, am I guiding them or am I managing them? You're not their manager. You're not their personal assistant. You are there for emotional support and overall guidance. If you feel frustrated or resentful or like you're the only one trying, that is your clue to step back and shift into coaching mode. So, for example, maybe you can ask questions like, what kind of work environment do you think you'd thrive in? What sounds exciting to you? Or even, where do you know that you don't want to work? That's fine. What environment do you not want? You can start there. Then ask, what's one small step you could take this week to get closer to your goal? What would success look like to you? Would you like my feedback or do you just want me to listen? I think that's a powerful question. That's a good one for anybody in life. Sometimes I'll phrase it, do you want me to just listen or do you want me to also offer suggestions? They may not want your help and your suggestions. Ask for permission. It's not your job to fix it. It's your job to equip them with the general knowledge, resources, and emotional support through this process. But as soon as you feel like you're doing things for them, stop, take a step back, and transfer responsibility and ownership over to them. All right. Let's take a quick commercial break. You're going to hear a little bit more about Career Uprising and how we help clients. We will be back in just about 2 minutes, and there's a lot more. We're going to talk about how to help them find their direction and some job search guidance that you can offer them to get them unstuck. We'll be right back. Hey there, listeners. Thanks for tuning in to Career Uprising. I have some exciting news for you. This show has been going steady since 2018, and I have amassed well over 100 episodes so far. So I decided to do something big and bold. I put the best of all of my teachings together in a book. That's right. I have a brand new book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all the major outlets. It's called What You Didn't Learn in School: Lessons on Growth, Change, and Living Your Best Life. This book contains 30 powerful lessons from my podcast and my work as a career coach to help you live your best life. Learn how to increase your confidence, get rid of imposter syndrome forever, finally get clarity on your career path, and so much more. This book covers everything from careers to finances to health to relationships and more. Head over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or your favorite book retailer and pre-order your copy of What You Didn't Learn in School. Then go to my website, careeruprising.com, to learn more about how Career Uprising can help you transform your career and your life. Let's get back to the show. All right. Thank you for sticking with me through the break. Let's talk about practical ways that you can guide your adult child without micromanaging them. Number one, help them identify their strengths. As an early career professional, you don't really know who you are yet, right? And that's okay. You figure that out as you go through life. But you can ask questions to help, just as a coach would, to help them figure those things out. Young adults often can't see what they're good at because everything just kind of feels new and feels like guesswork. Maybe you could ask them, what kind of things do you like to do where you can just lose track of time? And we're not talking about TV and video games here, okay? Just to clarify. Most people can scroll Netflix and lose track of time. Not what we're talking about. What type of work-related tasks do you actually enjoy doing? And you kind of forget what time it is, right? Because you just get lost in it. Or what kind of projects or problems do people come to you to solve? Do people come to you to solve people problems, technical problems, logistical problems? What is it? That's where your natural ability lies. So, number one, mom and dad, help them identify their strengths. We also do assessments that are really, really good. I think assessments are great for young people who are still figuring out who they are. We do DISC. That's what I'm administered for. All my coaching clients, I always offer that if they want. Really, really helpful. We'd love to help your son or daughter with that, and it can pull out their strengths, their weaknesses, even some suggested career paths if they need it. I love the DISC assessments. All right, then number two, encourage them to conduct informational interviews. Instead of just applying to 200 jobs online, and that's actually a low number for some people, have them talk to real people doing the work that they might want to do. I know this sounds scary. It sounds scary to talk to people, even for a lot of adults, it is. But again, the sooner they learn to do this, the better off they will be. This is how clarity and opportunity comes through having conversations with people. And you can help by maybe introducing them, but include them in the process. Instead of just making calls on their behalf, maybe do a phone or email introduction. Maybe go meet with them all together for coffee, something like that. So you could say something like, I know someone who works in that field. Would you like me to make an introduction so that you can learn more? Then make the introduction and let them take it from there and step out. That's connection, not control. Number three, check yourself and make sure you're modeling professional behavior. If your child sees you networking, learning, managing their own career proactively, it helps to normalize the effort and it just sets a good example. They're far more likely to follow your example, I think, than your advice sometimes, right? Kind of doing as you do, not just as you say, which I think hopefully those two things line up. But it is even more impactful to look at somebody's actions and somebody's choices. So maybe you can share some examples from your career when you faced similar dilemmas and how did you make that decision? All right. Then number four, set boundaries. If they're living at home, it's okay to have expectations and boundaries. So if you're still living at home, you still got to maybe do chores, be making a certain amount of progress on your job search. Maybe you're having them pay rent. That's between you and them. But give structure. Structure builds confidence, not resentment. All right. They need to know, where is the line? Where is the boundary? How much time should I be spending job searching? And how much time is it okay for me to go down in the basement and play video games, right? There needs to be a line. Even though they're an adult, if they're living in your house, they still follow your rules and you still have the right to impose some guidance and some boundaries and help them structure their time. 20-somethings are not always the best at time management. I think we know that, right? So they may need some help with that. But again, we want to make sure it doesn't cross a boundary. And then lastly, here's some more job search guidance that you can offer them, because maybe you've been out of this process for a while. You yourself as the parent may not even know what the modern job search looks like right now. So it might be really hard for you to coach them if you haven't job searched yourself in a number of years, or maybe you're even retired and out of the game. So that can put you at a disadvantage. So if your child is ready to take real action, here's some things that you can coach them on or have them listen to this part themselves, perhaps. I would strongly recommend that too. But number one is clarify the goal. All right. They don't need a forever career right now. They just need a starting point. So is your expectation realistic for the very next step that they take? All right. Chances are this job they get is a stopgap. It's a 1 to 2 year kind of thing, and that's all they need it to be. So they may have to make some concessions somewhere. Encourage them to pick a direction, even if it's not perfect. Clarity comes from movement, not waiting for the perfect plan. I am a big, big believer in that. I say it all the time to clients. Clarity comes in the process. It doesn't come in waiting. I'd rather you make a decision and take a job and get going, and then you can figure it out from there. But if just by staying stuck at home, feeling frustrated, you're not going to get clarity that way. All right. So Then number two, for an early career professional, you may be focusing the resume a little bit more on potential rather than history. They probably have only a little bit of experience at this point. That's expected. So you have to get creative. Use volunteer work, internships, class projects, all of those things to show transferable skills. Things like communication, teamwork, leadership, problem solving, adaptability. Those are some of the soft skills that are really, really desirable out there. So help them display the experience that they do have as well as their future potential and lead with that. It's okay to lead with academic projects, listing out some of your courses. If they've graduated, within the last 2 to 3 years even, that's perfectly acceptable. All right. Number 3, teach them to reach out, not just apply. Online applications are tough. They're a black hole. They've been given that name for a reason. Instead of only doing that, find a hiring manager or recruiter on LinkedIn and send them a brief message. And don't overthink it. It's simple. Hi, so-and-so, I saw your opening for whatever job and it caught my eye. I'm in the early phase of my career, but early to learn and contribute. I have some foundational experience that really aligns with this position. Would you be open to a short conversation? Something like that. Not everyone will reply, but that's okay. You don't need everyone to reply. If 1 or 2 people reply and give you a phone call, that is a success. That is progress. That is movement. And I've seen this strategy work. I talk about it a lot on this show. So teach your child to do more than just the minimum. Just applying online is reactive. Be proactive as well and do more than one method. All right. Help them also prepare for interviews. We have a certain method that we teach, CAR, Challenge, Action, Result. There's some other variations out there. I do a lot of interview practice with early career professionals because they don't have the experience. How are they really going to know? For some of them, maybe this is the first major interview they've ever been on. So they're going to need objective feedback from somebody about how to do this and what questions to anticipate. I have an entire client library with all kinds of interview prep materials that I've developed over the last few years. I've also updated it to reflect AI practices as well. This is something we have a lot of materials on to help clients with. And then encourage reflection. After they have an interview, ask them, how did it go? What felt good? What felt natural and comfortable? What didn't? Where did you stumble? Where did you not feel as confident? Debrief every interview and help them gain clarity on how they can improve their performance. Those first couple interviews especially are going to be a learning opportunity. They're probably not going to get that job. Maybe they will, but they're going to have to get better at it before they really land the job. So see the first ones as practice and just getting engaged in the process. All right, my friends, here's the takeaway. As parents, you cannot launch your child's career for them, but you can help them in the right way to build their mindset, their confidence, and habits to help them launch themselves. You don't really have to launch them. They launch themselves. Your role isn't to clear the path. It's more to walk beside them as they learn to navigate it so they don't have to do it alone. So if you're listening today and thinking, that's my kid, reach out, book a discovery call. We'd be happy to coach both of you a little bit if needed, and take the principles and the teachings of this episode to the next step and apply them to your specific situation. All right. So go to careeruprising.com, learn more about what we do. Happy to customize a program for your early career professional. So don't feel intimidated by the program options and investments that you see. I may be able to customize something a little more affordable for somebody who is just starting out. All right. Take care. Have a beautiful day. And there's more episodes to come. Hey, it's Lorraine, and I want to say thanks for listening. If you found value in today's show, I would be honored to have your review on Apple Podcasts. It's the single best way to help this show be found by other listeners, and you'll earn some good karma. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you next time on Career Uprising.